Hey everyone, this is Sebastian here from 8base. Today I'm going to be walking you through the 8base React Starter app just to show how quickly you can get up and running for building a React.js application that is using an 8base backend. Let's dive into it. Cool. So here I am in GitHub at the React 8base Starter app repo. Now inside of this repository we have a README that will walk you through the steps of setting this up. But I'm just going to walk you through it and then point out some things in the repository or in the code files that will help you kind of understand contextually what you're working with. So the first thing I'm going to do is copy the URL and clone it down to my computer. So let me open up VS Code here, and I'm in my temp directory, so I'm just going to run git clone, and I'm just going to leave it with the default name, and I'm going to move into that file. So change directory, excuse me. Now the first thing we're going to want to do is there is a .env file that shows all the different information that we need to set as environment variables, and I'm just going to do that into a I'm going to make a local.env file or env.local file for the same stuff. So .env, and I'm just going to throw that into a .env.local. Just good practice. And now I'm going to open this folder up on my computer. Cool. So let me go to my I'm just navigating my file structure here until I can get it. Cool. And awesome. Here we are. Close everything. And I spelled that wrong. .env. Good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump back into the 8base console to start collecting all these different environment variable values that we need to set, starting with the Workspace Endpoint. So let me go to a backend that I have open. It could be any 8base workspace, doesn't really matter. I'm using my Supertask backend. And I'm going to go here and copy my API endpoint and then drop that into there. Next is just 3 different auth profile relevant keys. So let me go to app services, authentication, and set up React auth profile. Call it whatever we want. We're going to leave it as 8base authentication for now, and then say that this is open to all. So that meaning that anyone could sign up through this application, and we'll point out what that means in a little bit, and then just assign a random role to that user when they sign up. Add the profile. Cool. So now I'm going to take that profile ID, which is right here, and I'm going to set it as the auth profile ID. I'm going to take the client ID, which is right here, and I'm going to set that as the auth client ID. And then I'm going to set the auth domain here as well. Cool. Now we can run npm run start. Actually, no, we can't. We still have to run npm install to install our dependencies. So that is going to run for just a minute, and I will be back when it's done. Cool. So a lot of logs, but no errors, so we're good to go. Now we're just going to run npm run start and start up our application. Cool. So now it is loading. And 1 second, let's see. Cool, compiled successfully. Awesome. So here we are with our app, right? So we can see that there's a router installed. So we have these 2 different pages, and we're on the home page and the sign in button. So this is already set up with an auth module with a API connection to the 8base backend, as well as like some other stuff that we're going to look at. However, let's do a test run. So let's click sign in. It's going to take me to my hosted login page. I'm going to click sign up. Here I'm going to just use my a random email account I have, SS, super secret password, and click sign up. Oh, someone already exists with that. So let me just go into my backend really quickly. And here we can go. Oh, here, no wonder. There we go. Here's my backend. And I'm going to go to users, data, delete this user. Awesome. So now let's go back to our app. And awesome. Sign up. Go through the steps again. And we're going to do cool. Loading. Awesome. We're authenticating our app now. So now we see that when we go to the profile page, it's actually doing an API call to the backend, which is authenticated because it's getting back our name and ID and our email address. Awesome. So that all works. Let's take a quick look now back at the code. So pretty straightforward React.js application. So first thing, if we go into the source and we look at our application.js file, we can see that we are importing something called the a component called the app provider from the 8-base React SDK. And essentially this is what we pass our auth client to, as well as our Workspace endpoint, and it knows to communicate then with the 8-base API. We also have our routes, which if we pull from the route file here, we can see the different routes that we had set up. And we also have a component, which is a protected route. And this is essentially handling the check of whether or not we are authenticated or not authenticated to protect against accessing certain routes in the application, right? But pretty straightforward. If we are authorized, which is coming from this useAuth function, which is coming once again from the 8-base React SDK, it checks, it will render the component with the properties if we are authenticated on a protected route. And if not, it's going to redirect us to our auth path, right? And so make a sign in. Pretty straightforward. That's really it. I think that's what we have to cover on this one. As a React developer, I'm sure that you can jump in here and use it however you want, reformat it however you needed. However, hopefully this is a great little starting point for you to start developing a new application using React.js and an 8-base backend. Cool. So I hope that this got you excited about starting a new project with React.js and 8-base. 8-base is really an amazing backend technology for developing with these modern front-end frameworks, as in a few minutes you can have this really scalable and awesome backend to start developing against, and using that GraphQL API just has a great developer experience. So if you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to get updates when new videos come out in the future, please subscribe to the channel. Happy developing and looking forward to seeing you in future episodes.